At around 7:17 one morning in the summer of 1908, something exploded over Siberia with the force of hundreds of atomic bombs. It flattened more than 80 million trees. The shock wave circled the globe. Windows shattered hundreds of kilometers away. Seismographs in London recorded the tremor. For days afterward, the night sky over Europe glowed so brightly that people could read outdoors at midnight. And when investigators finally reached the center of the blast, they found no crater, no meteorite, no impact, nothing. One man spent the rest of his life trying to explain that impossible sentence. He never did. Tonight, we pick up where he left off. This is case file number 004, the Tunguska event. Forget the theories for a moment. Forget everything science would later explain. For the next few minutes, you know exactly what the witnesses knew that morning. Nothing. The Podkamennaya Tunguska region was one of the most isolated places on Earth. No roads, no cities, no electricity, scattered trading posts, Evenki reindeer herders, and a handful of Russian settlers. June 30th began like every other morning. Mist lifting off the taiga, reindeer grazing, smoke rising from campfires. Then someone noticed something. Not a sound, a light. Witness file. Semyon Semenov, traitor. Semenov was roughly 65 kilometers from what would become the epicenter, one of the best documented eyewitnesses of the entire event. He described the northern sky appearing to split apart, followed by an intense flash. Moments later, the heat arrived. He later said it felt as though his shirt had caught fire. Only after that did the blast wave hit. Windows shook, the ground trembled. He was thrown from where he stood. Light, then heat, then shock wave. Exactly what physics predicts for a massive explosion many kilometers away. That sequence is what makes his account so valuable. Witness file, the Evenki herders. Closer to the epicenter, the accounts turn violent. A column of fire, a burning sky, hurricane winds, trees collapsing, terrified reindeer scattering into the forest. Some camps were reportedly damaged or destroyed. Several described not one explosion, but a series of them, like artillery fire. A caution, many of these accounts were collected years later, not immediately after. The details are consistent across multiple independent tellings, but the exact wording may have shifted with time. Witness file, railway workers. Hundreds of kilometers away, railway workers reported a brilliant flash followed by powerful vibrations. Some assumed a massive explosion had happened nearby. Again, consistent with a colossal atmospheric blast, not a local one. One detail stands out. Many witnesses described the object moving across the sky rather than simply falling, suggesting a shallow angle of entry. Modern computer models agree. Rather than plunging straight down, it likely crossed a long stretch of atmosphere before it detonated. By the end of the morning, the forest lay in ruins. Animals were dead, trees lay in every direction. People believed the end of the world had come, and yet, nobody could point to where the object had landed. News of the explosion reached Europe within days. Scientists wanted answers, but reaching the heart of Siberia wasn't as simple as boarding a train. And before anyone could organize an expedition, history intervened. The First World War, the Russian Revolution, Civil War. By the time a serious investigation could begin, nearly 20 years had passed. One man refused to let the mystery disappear. His name was Leonid Alexeyevich Kulik, a Soviet mineralogist with an obsession for meteorites. While others debated the event from their offices, Kulik wanted to stand where it happened. He believed a massive meteorite had struck Siberia, and that somewhere beneath that forest lay the largest meteorite ever discovered. If he could recover it, it would transform our understanding of the event. So he set out into one of the harshest landscapes on Earth. Reaching the blast zone wasn't a matter of days. It took weeks. Rivers crossed by sled, forests cut through on foot. Supplies hauled hundreds of kilometers by reindeer and boat. Every step brought him closer to what he believed would be the greatest meteorite discovery in history. Then, in 1927, Leonid Kulik finally arrived. Nothing prepared him for what he saw. We've already cataloged Exhibits A through D, Semenov's testimony, the Evenki herders' accounts, the railway workers' report, and the shockwave that circled the globe. Now standing in the wreckage himself, Kulik was about to add a fifth. Exhibit E, 80 million trees. The forest looked as though an invisible giant had pressed it flat. Millions of trees lay on the ground, all pointing away from a single central point. Exhibit F, the standing trees. But at the very center, Kulik found something stranger still. Trees were still standing, their branches stripped away, their bark scorched. They looked like rows of telephone poles, dead but upright. That shouldn't happen. Kulik searched for the crater. He expected a massive hole carved into the Siberian earth. Instead, he found nothing. No crater, no meteorite, no impact scar. Refusing to believe it, he identified a nearby swamp. Perhaps the meteorite had buried itself beneath the mud. He organized workers. The swamp was drained. Weeks of labor. At the bottom, no meteorite, only the stump of an old tree. The swamp had existed long before 1908. Another promising lead, gone. Every answer seemed to create a new question. The evidence surrounded him, yet the one thing he had traveled thousands of kilometers to find simply didn't exist. Kulik spent the rest of his life searching for the crater that should have been there. He died in 1942, a prisoner of war, still without an answer. Decades later, scientists are still asking the same question he was. If nothing ever struck the ground, what exploded over Tunguska? Kulik searched the ground, but the strongest evidence turned out to be scattered across the rest of the planet, and it took decades to piece together. Exhibit G, the glowing nights. For several nights after the explosion, skies across Europe stayed unnaturally bright. In London, people reportedly could read outdoors around midnight. The likely cause, fine ice particles and dust, injected high into the atmosphere by the blast, scattering sunlight long after sunset. This detail matters more than it first appears. A rocky asteroid doesn't typically produce that kind of atmospheric glow. Something rich in ice might. Exhibit H, seismic and pressure waves. Seismographs as far away as London recorded the tremor. Barometric pressure anomalies were detected across the globe, as far as Washington, D.C., and Java. Whatever happened over Siberia, the planet itself felt it. Exhibit I, Lake Checo. A small lake near the epicenter has fueled its own debate. Some researchers argue Lake Checo is the impact scar of a surviving fragment, sediment analysis suggesting it formed around 1908. Others argue the lake predates the event entirely, and the sediment dating is inconclusive. It remains one of the most contested single pieces of evidence in the entire case. Exhibit J, microscopic spherules. In soil and peat layers dated to 1908, researchers have identified microscopic mineral spherules, tiny fused particles consistent with a cosmic origin. They're not a smoking gun, but they're the closest thing to physical fragments this case has ever produced. One more thing worth being honest about. As recently as 2025, a small group of researchers published new analysis arguing the physical evidence at the site shows more extreme, localized heat and pressure than standard airburst models predict, suggesting mechanisms beyond a simple explosion. It's a real published argument. It is also a minority position, and most of the scientific community isn't convinced. We're not going to pretend that debate is settled, because it isn't. Every exhibit we've collected gets weighed against every theory that's ever tried to explain this case. 4 suspects. Let's test them. Suspect 1, the asteroid. A stony asteroid, roughly 50 to 60 meters wide, entering the atmosphere at tremendous speed and exploding 5 to 10 kilometers above the surface. This is the scientific consensus. The butterfly-shaped blast pattern matches modern computer models of an airburst almost exactly. And no crater is exactly what you'd expect, because it never touched the ground. The problem? Despite decades of searching, no asteroid fragment has ever been conclusively identified at the site. Verdict: likely. Suspect 2. The comet, a body of ice, dust, and rock, the kind that vaporizes almost completely on atmospheric entry. This explains two things the asteroid theory struggles with: the glowing skies, water ice injected into the upper atmosphere, and the total absence of debris because a comet doesn't leave much behind. In 2013, a smaller version of this exact scenario played out over Chelyabinsk, Russia. A 19-meter object detonated in an airburst and injured roughly 1,500 people. It's the closest thing to a modern reference point this case has. The problem: the blast pattern models fit an asteroid slightly better than a comet. Verdict: possible. Suspect 3. Tesla's death ray. The theory: Nikola Tesla, testing wireless energy transmission at Wardenclyffe Tower, accidentally discharged a beam of energy that struck Siberia. The problem: no known mechanism could focus energy that precisely across that distance. Tesla's tower was underpowered for the claim, and the theory itself didn't emerge from scientists. It surfaced decades later from Tesla enthusiasts, not from anyone who studied the blast. Verdict: dismissed. Suspect 4. The mini black hole proposed in 1973 by physicists Jackson and Ryan. A tiny black hole passing through Earth, entering over Siberia and exiting somewhere in the North Atlantic. The problem: zero corroborating evidence. No disturbance was ever detected at any proposed exit point. And if a black hole really passed through the planet, why did it stop consuming mass at Siberia and nowhere else? Verdict: dismissed. Two theories survive contact with the evidence. Two don't. But notice something: even the two survivors don't fully agree with each other. The glowing skies point toward a comet. The blast pattern points slightly more toward an asteroid, which means the honest answer isn't a single confident name, it's a narrowed list. Here's what we can say with real confidence. An object, likely an asteroid or a comet, roughly 50 to 60 meters across, entered Earth's atmosphere at extreme speed and detonated several kilometers above the Siberian taiga. The explosion released somewhere in the range of 10 to 15 megatons of energy, hundreds of times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Events of this scale are believed to happen roughly once every 100 to 300 years. Here's what we still don't know: whether it was ice or rock, why no fragment has ever been definitively identified, whether Lake Checo is a scar left behind or simply an unrelated feature of the landscape that happened to be nearby. Kulik never got his crater because there almost certainly wasn't one to find. The object likely never reached the ground at all. But the bigger question he was really asking, what exploded and why, has never been fully closed. One more thing worth sitting with: Earth rotates roughly 15 degrees every hour. Had this object arrived just a few hours later, that rotation would have carried a populated region directly beneath it. Instead of an empty Siberian forest, it could have been a city. Tunguska wasn't just a scientific curiosity, it was a warning. And this time, we got lucky. Leonid Kulik spent his life chasing a crater that was never there to find. He died still asking the question that opened this case file. We understand more today than he ever did, but the exact answer he was searching for still doesn't exist. If you want to be there when the next case file opens, hit subscribe, because history doesn't stop hiding things, and neither will we. Until the next case, keep questioning history.